And during the school year, you do run into students. I mean, yeah, when they graduate, yeah, they leave and go off, but there's always more students that replace them.
And that you're just pretty much saying to benefit the staff is why that class is there.
Well, not to benefit just the staff, but it took a foreign language that was not needed, French, and replaced it with one that could be used, for students. It wasn't offered as a required course. It was offered as an elective. I mean, you had to pick a foreign language, but you had three to pick from. You had either Spanish, sign language, or German.
So I'm pretty sure Spanish would have been beneficial to anybody.
Yeah,
because
well,
God knows you can go anywhere and run into a Mexican.
Right. I know. I chose the sign language one, but yeah, I there's no way I could do the Spanish. French. I mean, what do you need French for? I mean, unless you are bordering Canada, or or a border town, U.S. Canadian border or whatever, you're not really going to use French, or unless you're going to France. I mean, even taking German is still kind of a stretch, because really, when are you going to use it? I mean, do you plan on going to Germany sometime in your life, other than high school? So
useless.
But now, if a national curriculum was set in place, that would not be an option for me. It would, with the data privacy that they're collecting on our kids. Basically, what this boils down to is communism and socialism. Basically, the government is going to evaluate our children at either between the kindergarten and third grade level. They're going to evaluate them, see where their aptitude is, and then from there they're going to say, "Oh, okay, well, you're going to be, a sanitation worker. Okay, you're going to be, a nurse." Or something like that. And, whatever their aptitude is at that age. And their education is going to be geared towards that job. That's why they're keeping track of the students from preschool all the way to the workforce. In a sense, the government is taking away our children's education for, free individual thinking, and replacing it with a pleasing society and conforming to the masses. Since when did we Americans consider ourselves part of the masses? I don't know about you, but I've always considered myself to be an individual person with freedoms and liberties that are unalienable and are undeniable. I don't know.
It used to be that way.
But why can it not be that way again?
Look at what we're dealing with right now. I mean,
yeah.
This is just tip of the iceberg of everything we're dealing with. I mean, education is one of the biggest the gripes I've had in this country for years. And there not being enough funding, not being enough money to keep educators in the classrooms. Decrease the size of classroom with the amount of kids that are in there. There's just not enough money being put in the right places in our country. And now we're having to bend over and give up all these rights that we're so accustomed to, that people fought for. It's just really sad, man. I mean, you're talking education, but look at everything else that's going around us now.
I mean, I know. I
mean, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I know that. I know education is just one thing of many that has gone wrong in this country. And honestly, we have no one to blame but ourselves, because I was going to say, because we can only blame ourselves because we allowed our legislature to go wild. We allowed them to go rogue. And they got on a power trip, and now we have a Congress and a legislature that does not adequately represent its people, So, I don't know. I just honestly, I know we're neck deep in the mud here, but it's going to take a lot to get out. But that's part of the resistance is looking at each individual thing and seeing, okay, here's the problem. How do we fix this? Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, I see exactly where you're going with it. It's just that um, we're such a small minority that we're going to have to build this thing huge in order to get enough people involved to make a big enough impact. And we've got to take note of all the things that we have issues with in order to present that to the legislative or to your congressman or whoever you can present these issues with. And the people have got to be a voice. Problem is people just going about living their lives, doing what they're doing, and just kind of letting it happen. That's what happened with our country. Too many people just ignored what's going on and just kept doing their own daily routine, going to work every day, raising kids, doing whatever that they do, and not paying enough attention to what our government is trying to get away with. They're a very small minority people. There's only 500 and something, people in that government that are making all the decisions, and we're tens of millions. Yeah. So it's like, at what point do we stand up and say, you know what, this is baloney. We're not gonna put up with this anymore, and we're gonna start calling the shots on how we think as Americans should live our lives. I mean, look at the floodgates. You're talking about education. We're talking about gun control. We're talking about illegal aliens coming into this country, the welfare system. I mean, anything you look at. I mean, there's so many things right now that it's overwhelming how much. I mean, we can go on for days with with the resistance stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
We're just in such big trouble. I don't know if we're ever going to get out of this. And I mean, it's been great. My last almost 42 years being on this planet, and the life that I've been able to live, but we're about to walk into a war here. So,
yeah,
I mean, I'm concerned. I mean, yeah, education is important. It's very important, but I'm more concerned about our well-being.
Well, exactly. But, and I understand that, but the reason, we should look at education is, look at the dictators of the past. You got Hitler, you got Stalin and stuff like that. And each one of them had, a youth program or an education program that all it really did was served as a propaganda machine. And that's what this Common Core is doing. Just give you some examples on what this is actually teaching. Is they are teaching that the 9/11 hijackers were not terrorists, that they were freedom fighters. Okay. That 9/11 was all the United States' fault, not because of government cover-up or anything, but because it made the world unhappy. That's why we got attacked, by the way. Okay? Just so you know. According to Common Core. The Boston Tea Party was, according to Common Core, a terrorist attack. This is just, some of this is just like, you got to be kidding me. In English, all those books that we had to read, early American literature or Shakespeare, King Arthur, Diary of Anne Frank, stuff like that. Well, guess what? It's gone with Common Core. The fictional novels will be replaced with non-fiction books and technical manuals. They're literally taking the creativity and imagination out of our kids. Where all they're doing is sitting there and just lecturing to them, okay, you need to know this, you need to know this, you need to know this. Not, here's a blank piece of paper, draw me, a picture or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
No.
No?
So why would they replace all of history stuff for other stuff?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and
I mean, Anne Frank, that's some serious history stuff that everybody should know.
yeah, I agree.
The
And
Tea Party,
yeah,
that's some important history stuff that needs to be dictated as it happened.
yeah, I understand that. And that's, the one thing, with Common Core is they're not really hitting on the history and science yet because those are very touchy subjects. They're mainly focusing on English and math. But some of the things that will not be taught was King Arthur. Shakespeare won't be taught anymore. To Kill a Mockingbird. That's actually still on the banned books list. You know that?
I had no idea.
Yeah. Hey, if we go to 2011, top 10 books that have been banned, I can't. I guess Later Gator is the number one, by Lauren Miracle. Apparently, it's got offensive language, religious viewpoint, sexually explicit, unsuited to age group. Now, the number two one is The Color of Earth. Hunger Games trilogy is number three. And now these are all books that are banned in most schools, by the way. The Absolute True Diary of Part-Time Indian. Never heard of it. Alice, the series. Brave New World. What My Mother Doesn't Know. Gossip Girl. And To Kill a Mockingbird, number 10, by Harper Lee. Reasons is offensive language and racism. Now, I read To Kill a Mockingbird in high school. Didn't you, Jay?
No, I did not.
You didn't have to read it for in middle school or anything?
Not that I remember.
Oh, okay. Wow. Anyways, but you have read Diary of Anne Frank.
Yes.
Okay. See, now I've read that too, and that was actually that was a very powerful book right there. It was actually based on true events, was it not?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
Okay. But, even that book is being banned in some schools because it talks about Nazis.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but this goes into like political correctness and stuff like that. So, anyways, now it looks like Mike had to get going there. So take it easy there, Mike. Now, if you want to call in, give us your viewpoints on education, or if you got a story, maybe your child, you've seen the Common Core curriculum firsthand in your child's education. If you want to give us a call, the number to call in is area code 507-216-7672. That number again is area code 507-216-7672. The Skype ID is the.resistance1775. Again, Skype ID is the.resistance1775. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at all these other things that, at least English. I know Tale of Two Cities. That was gone. Which honestly, have you ever tried reading that book?
Have not.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
That does sound like a familiar quote, though.
Okay, well, it's the beginning quote in Tale of Two Cities. But honestly, anyone that can get past the first chapter, I commend you. I mean, wow. Talk about a hard book to read. Yikes. So, and then of course when you get to the math, the math curriculum is all experimental. You know,